It's 1997, and I've recently graduated from Duke University. I'm 20 stupid years old, and I've moved back home to New York City, where I'm sharing a 2-bedroom apartment on the Lower East Side with my best friend, Andy. Now, I was an economics major in college, and my mom taught me early on about the importance of fiscal responsibility. But I can't help myself. I get swept up in an intoxicating blend of 20-something invincibility, newfound independence, and New York City glitz. I live lavishly. I see a celebrity stylist and get chunky caramel highlights added to my dark brown hair. Andy and I leave our apartment at 10 p.m. for late-night dinners of ice-cold Belvedere martinis, earthy steak tartare, and hot, crispy fries at Blue Ribbon, followed by more expensive cocktails at chic hotels like the Soho Grand. I shop like it's my job. I still remember the first pair of Jimmy Choos that I bought, just because. They were burgundy satin, the 4-inch heel, double ankle strap with a black crystal embellishment. All of this on a starter salary of $30,000 a year. The problem is, I'm not Sarah Jessica Parker in Sex and the City. I'm Sarah Rebecca Karp. And while I'm having a lot of fun, and I've got a fabulous wardrobe, I'm also accumulating a mountain of debt. Now, Carrie has her Mr. Big. I have Mr. Large. He's an established businessman, 11 years older, with a Platinum American Express card, and boy, does he love to spoil me. Who needs an economics degree? I found a white knight, someone who can take care of me, and thank God, because I can't take care of myself. I don't even want to try. As I've found a financial savior, I reject the recommendations of my parents. When Large and I announce that we're moving in together, my mom pulls me aside, puts her hands on my shoulders, looks me right in the eye and says, "Sarah, keep some money for yourself. A woman should always have her own money." And I nod and I smile and I think, what money, Mom? All I have is a Jimmy Choo box full of credit card receipts. Besides, what could be more grown up than a joint checking account? When Large and I announce that we're getting married, my dad pulls me aside, gives me a copy of a book titled "Prenups Are for Lovers." And he says, "Sarah, always protect what you have." And once again, I nod and I smile, and I think to myself, protect what, Dad? Large has a garage full of luxury cars and a 6-figure salary. All I have is a closet full of expensive shoes and 5 figures of debt. I start to sign senselessly. Credit card bills, sign. Tax returns, sign. Mortgage application, sign. I don't read anything. I can't be bothered with details. And the ultimate example of this carelessness comes when I go to consolidate my debt. And of course, I don't read the paperwork. And I wind up signing up for debt insurance. I make the payments for over a year before I realize my mistake. And at that point, I actually owe more than I started with. Each bad decision compounds on the previous bad decisions. Screwing up the debt consolidation was just the final straw. It's clear to Large. It's clear to me. I'm no good with money. Large strips me of my financial responsibility, and I am relegated to sit on the sidelines of my own financial life. As an observer, I'm no longer an active participant in the decision making. And we really don't communicate about money except when he tells me what I can spend. One time, I go to him because I want to replace some makeup that I wear on a daily basis. And he tells me that I can buy it, but then because money is a tool used for control, he tells me that he'll give it to me as part of my Christmas present next month. Now, I should be angry. I should be shocked, but I'm not. In our relationship, money is a weapon. Fast forward, it's 2009. Mr. Large and I have recently separated because we're getting a divorce. I'm 33 years old, and I'm living in a dilapidated house in a small rural town outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. It's an oppressively hot August day. I'm working from home when I get an email from Citibank. It seems that we've missed some payments on a line of credit, and as a result, they're reporting us to the credit bureau. Now, Mr. Large was responsible for paying all the bills, but this account at Citibank is in my name only, which means it's my credit score that's going to suffer. To be fair, the missed payments are an oversight. If anyone here has gone through a divorce, you know what I'm talking about. It's easy to get distracted. But this was an oversight with real consequences. Consequences that I would suffer. The email from Citibank rocks me. It's as if somebody from Citibank has crawled out of the computer and just reached out and just wham, punched me in my deepest gut. I'm ashamed. I'm afraid. And even though rationally I know that one missed payment is not the end of the world, I find myself in a full-blown panic because all I can envision is total financial ruin. But more importantly, the email from Citi is a much-needed reality check. How did I become this girl? When did I lose control? I know better. I'm 33 years old. I have no money, no clue, and no one to blame but myself. And it's in this moment that it becomes abundantly clear there is only one way forward. It is time to step up, take responsibility, and get my financial shit together. Today is the day I reclaim my financial power. My name is Sarah Charles, and as a financial advisor, I'm a champion for women's financial empowerment and an advocate for increasing and improving women's confidence when it comes to investing. Women control an extraordinary amount of wealth in this country, $10 trillion. And by 2030, that number is expected to grow to $30 trillion. That is a potential transfer of wealth on par with the GDP of this country. It is massive. Factor in that 90 to 95% of all women will eventually become their family's sole or primary financial decision maker. And it is clear, women control a tremendous amount of financial power. And yet, women are underserved by the financial services industry, and study after study shows that women lack confidence when it comes to investing. The problem is, women can't sit on the sidelines of their own financial lives. There is simply too much at stake, which is why I'm on a mission to ensure that every single woman in the world is empowered, educated, and engaged when it comes to her personal finances. So how am I doing that? Well, for starters, forget your fear of failure. Fear of failure is one of the biggest confidence killers out there because it keeps us from taking action. Now look, human beings, regardless of their gender, are not hardwired to be good at investing. Our natural behavioral tendencies, our cognitive and emotional biases, even our biology, all work against us to keep us from taking action when we need to. Now, it doesn't help that the financial media and the so-called experts oftentimes frame investing as a zero-sum game with winners and losers. That's right. You too can be a winner at the game of investing if you just pick the right stock, choose the right manager, get in and out of the market at exactly the right time. That is one way to invest, but it's not the only way, nor do I think it's the right way. I know a lot about fear of failure. I said that large stripped me of my financial responsibility. That's a lie. I abdicated it willingly. You see, I was afraid. I was afraid that I would keep making mistakes, and so I sacrificed my financial autonomy. The ironic thing is, I learned it a little later on, he wasn't any better with money than I was. Second thing, be receptive to risk. Look, we know women are more risk averse than men, and there are a lot of reasons why. We have less testosterone, and we know that testosterone is associated with a willingness to take risk. In the book, The Confidence Code by Katty Kay and Claire Shipman, they talk about the good girl lesson. The idea that as young girls, we are rewarded for being neat and polite and quiet. And we begin to associate risk-taking with bad behavior and, by extension, punishment. Even our brains have evolved differently. Women have a greater capacity for worry. Now, our risk aversion isn't just anecdotal. Of all the wealth that women control, 70% is sitting in cash. And that's a problem because money doesn't grow in cash. Money doesn't grow on trees either. Money grows in the stock market. And we need our wealth to continue to grow because things will cost more tomorrow than they do today. It's called inflation, and I'm pretty sure y'all know what I'm talking about when I talk about inflation. Look, putting your money in the market does come with risk, but not all risk is bad. Sure, if you think investing is a game to win or lose, then absolutely. One misstep can be terrifying. But There's another way. You can take an approach that is proven and prudent, one that is rooted in academics, grounded in financial science, and where you have a trusted professional guide you through all your financial decision making. The truth is, by not investing, that's also a risk because you're losing purchasing power over time. So by sitting in cash, all you're doing is trading one risk for another. Now, I got a late start. I didn't start saving till my mid-30s, but because my money is invested in the market, in a low-cost, globally diversified portfolio, I'm catching up and I'm making progress towards achieving all my financial goals. Lastly, channel your confidence. There's a term, stereotype threat, which essentially means a negative characteristic unfairly associated with a particular group. Best example I like to give is the idea that women are bad at math because we're women. So, how about the idea that women are bad at investing? Except the thing is, we're not. And the things that you think would hold women back are actually our investing superpowers. Like the fact that women take time researching ideas and asking questions before we put our money to work. Or the fact that once we invest our money, we tend to stay invested. We're not jumping in and out of strategies, chasing the next hot hand. The fact is, women aren't just good at investing. We are better at it than men. And there are numerous studies that quantify this. So ladies, listen, you are better than your husband, your father, your brother. You're better at investing than that obnoxious coworker who's always cutting you off in meetings and won't shut up about all the crypto he's trading. Men are overconfident, and it does not serve them well in this arena. I preach the confidence gospel because I want to change the narrative. I want women to stop believing the stereotype threat that they're no longer good at investing. And I want them to embrace the stereotype that you are fucking awesome at it. And ladies, if you need a little inspiration, just look to the most powerful woman on Wall Street. Fearless girl. She is defiant. She is legendary. She is standing in her power as she faces down the bull. Let this icon be a source from which you draw your financial power. I've made a lot of mistakes. But the worst mistake I made wasn't that I married the wrong guy, or that I ignored my parents' advice, or even that I signed up for debt insurance. No. The worst mistake I made was allowing the sum total of all those mistakes to define my money story for far too long. For over a decade, I starred as the girl who wasn't good with money in my own version of Clueless. And while that may have been true at 23, it wasn't true at 33. And yet, it never occurred to me to audition for a new role until the day I got that gut punch of an email from Citibank. Today, I'm in total control of my financial life. I'm married to an amazing man. We communicate openly and honestly about money. It's not a weapon. It's something we share. And because of that, it's a source of strength in our relationship, not a source of stress. I live within my means. I read everything I sign. The only debt we have is the mortgage on our house. I'm saving actively for the future, and I still have enough left over to buy fabulous shoes. I've made almost every money mistake possible. And now I want my story to be your survival guide, because what I've learned and what I know is that it's never too late to write a new money story. Thank you.